Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. So the All-NBA team came out, and I was pretty pleased with the majority of it. I thought Jason Tatum earned the spot as a first-team All-NBA performer. I mean, it looked tricky early in the season, and that was largely due to him and Jaylen Brown not being on the same page. But, once they got together and they got on the same page and that team meshed defensively, they started to guard, it became apparent that he was definitely playing like not just an All NBA performer, but a first team All NBA performer. And I didn't have any issue with that. I did have DeMar DeRozan over Devin Booker on the first team. I looked at what DeMar DeRozan had done for that Chicago Bulls team in the regular season, and him losing Caruso, him losing Lonzo Ball, him losing Pat Williams, and for the majority of the season, they were in first place in the Eastern Conference, which was a tougher conference this year. I mean, he went 28, 5-5, which is very similar to Book's 27, 5-5. DeRozan had a lower usage rate. Not only did he have a lower usage rate, he shot his second highest field goal percentage of his career this season. He shot his second highest free throw percentage of his career in this season. I think the disparity came on the defensive side of the basketball. I think that's largely due to those guys being in and out of the lineup. And DeRozan isn't considered a great defender, and neither is Book, but Book was on a better defensive team at the time. So I think that's where he's gotten the edge. Add that to the fact that, Book played more games. DeRozan played more games. In 76 games, he did what he did, and Book did it in less games, in 68 games. But I was surprised at that, and I think that also has something to do with DeRozan being listed as a forward. DeRozan been in the league 13 years. 10 of those 13 years, he's been listed as a shooting guard. He was listed as a power forward this year. I didn't understand that. I did not understand that. The guy that I was the most pleased to see was Jason Tatum, just because they had gotten on the same page defensively with that Boston unit. Since we're on the subject of defensively, when you get into the playoffs, you're going to play against better teams, and your margin of error shrinks. So because your margin of error shrinks, that means that you have to be much more precise in everything that you do. So open shots, you have to make more of them than you would against this team, because this team is better. You got to rebound more. You have to take advantage of every opportunity because you're dealing with a better team. So this Miami Heat team, offensively, they weren't great this year. They finished 17th, so that's a little bit below average. So they weren't lighting it up offensively. Defensively, they finished at the top of the league. So their mantra is, that's Miami Heat basketball. They're a tough, gritty, hard-nosed team where their offense is generated a lot on defense. Well, when you run into a team that's just as good, if not better than you defensively, all right, well, it's going to be a battle, but where's the divide going to come? The divide's going to come offensively. Where are we better offensively? And the Miami Heat aren't better anywhere offensively than the Boston Celtics. Nowhere. When they played against Atlanta, that series was won basically on defense. They shut the door on Trae Young, so they didn't have to score a lot of points. And in the second round against Philadelphia, I didn't trust James Harden more than I trusted the Miami Heat to be good. I know who James Harden is. And I trusted him to be him more than I thought that the Miami Heat were that good offensively. And it showed. It absolutely showed. Even though Jimmy Butler was doing what he was doing, I just trusted James Harden to be James Harden. Now you get into the Eastern Conference Championship where you run into a team in the Boston Celtics who are better than you defensively, which means you have to score. because you're not going to be able to hold them down the entire game. You're not going to be able to do that. You have to score, and a lot of again, a lot of your offense is generated off defense. Well, guess what? Theirs is too. Add that to the fact that they can score, right? Add that to the fact that they can score in the half court. Because outside of Jimmy Butler, when he's not going, they don't really have anything else. I mean, they got no production from their backcourt yesterday. 0. 0 for 15. I know that sounds ridiculous. I know that sounds ridiculous. 1 for 22 between Strus, Lowry, and Victor Oladipo. 1 for 22. 0 for 15 on the long ball between the three of those guys. So eventually Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, those guys are going to get going. You're not going to be able to hold all of those guys down the entire game. They're going to get going. I can't say enough about what Derek White did. Going 5 for 6 in the first half. Him and Horford, 22 points between the both of them. They basically kept them in the game in the first half with what little Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown gave them. I can't say enough about Robert Williams, even though he's hobbled. The defensive presence that he is. How he's cleaning the glass like he is. 3 blocks and a steal and man in the paint and making it difficult on those guys when they come into the paint and basically thwarting their offense. If you notice, when he's not in the lineup, they go in a completely different direction. A lot of their stuff is downhill. A lot of their stuff is to the basket. Well, when he's in there, we can't do that. We can't. And if we try to do it, we just have to do it a different way, and it hasn't been working. I think that I said it before the season started. Not the season. I said it before the series started. I thought that the Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat wins the Eastern Conference Championship. I thought that the Boston Celtics win this thing in 6. I think that this series is over. I think they end it on Friday night, and I think that they move on to the NBA Finals. That's a damn good Boston team that I'm looking at. And they look to me, I have to see what happens moving forward in the series, but they look to me like a team that's going to be around for a while. They do. I'm not going to say that they're the Lakers in the early 2000s. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that they're the Bulls, but they just look like a team that they're going to be around for a while. Them, Milwaukee, I think that they're going to be around for a while, and I think that that's going to be a battle of the ages for a time to come, for this decade. I think that those guys are going to be around for a while. I think that Miami has got some work to do, but I think that this Boston Celtic team and this Milwaukee team, I think they're going to be around for a while, man. I'm really interested to see what they have moving forward. And since we're on the subject of moving forward, I wasn't surprised that Dallas beat Golden State in Game 4. I wasn't surprised about that. Simply because Dallas's game and their success is predicated on those other guys making shots. Luka generates all of their offense. Luka doesn't generate some of their offense or most of their offense. He generates all of their offense. We talking about a guy in Finney-Smith and Bullock and Kleber. Those guys are D and 3 guys. Kleber isn't a D and 3 guy. Kleber's just a 3 guy who hustles and plays token defense. He's not a great defender, but Finney-Smith and Bullock, those are D and 3 guys. Like I said before, I put them in the same category with Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen, guys like that, right? So when you get those 3 guys in Game 1 and in Game 3 that go 3 for 22 on the long ball, not only do they go 3 for 22 on the long ball, Kleber and Bullock 0 for 12, and you have a difficult time stopping people. That's a recipe for disaster. You're not going to get anything going. Well, that changed completely. It changed completely on Tuesday night, where the three of them, they go 12 for 20 on the long ball. And when they're making shots, they make Luka's life less difficult. Because I thought they did a really good job dealing with Luka, holding him under 40%, making him make tough shots, making him turn the basketball over like he did, just forcing him into tough situations. He went 3 for 11 on the long ball. So they made it hard on Luka. I'm not looking at the 30 and 14 that he had. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at what he did and how difficult they made it on him. And when they do that, and when they make it difficult on Luka, all you can do is just tip your hat and go, great job. Now, if you can make it difficult on those other guys, make Bullock, make Finney-Smith, make Kleber work, and keep them, and they don't make shots, I think the Warriors have a great shot to win this thing. I think this series is over anyway. I think they end it tonight. I didn't have them mopping the Dallas Mavericks. I did not have that. No. Like I said, considering what I had seen in Game 6 and Game 7, and also what I had seen in Game 2, there was no reason for me to think that Golden State would basically mop these guys right out of the playoffs. I didn't think that at all. But it was obvious that what they were doing was predicated on the other guys making shots. And if those guys aren't making shots, they don't have a shot whatsoever. They do not have a shot. And I think that this series is over. I thought that Dallas got some work to do in the offseason, but I do think that this series is over. And I think that the Warriors will face the Celtics in the finals. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to see, though. So, hey, guys, I'm going to be here for as long as y'all want me here, man. When y'all tell me to go, that's when I'm going. But until then, take it light, but take it.